everyone. We're going to get started in just a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to the live. Hope everybody's doing well. Hello everyone on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Say hi everyone, no matter where you're joining me from. This is not going to be a super long live. I'm literally going to be live for as long as I can until my ride gets here, and then we are going to end. And so today I want to talk to you about this idea of learning to receive, because learning to receive is what makes you magnetic. Learning to receive is what makes you magnetic. And hey everyone, hi guys. If you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook, please do comment. And I would love to see you say hello. Hi, Instagram. Hi, TikTok. Hi, everyone. Please do go ahead and share this podcast. Depends on where you're watching me. If you're watching me, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Hi, everyone. I've got a really great topic I'm going to be talking to you about today, which is that receiving is what makes you magnetic. And learning how to receive is going to be such a key thing in your life. And I'm going to give you a few steps as to how we can get into that today. And so it's going to be a really good live. You're going to want to watch this all the way through to the end, and it will be saved on YouTube. So if you want to watch the replay afterwards, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be talking about something that most women, especially faith-driven women, high-standard women, have never been taught. And if you see me looking in this direction, this is where my notes are. And so this is where I'm going to be facing at this particular time. And so when you understand this, that most of the time, this is something we've never been taught by our mothers, not the church, not by femininity coaches on Instagram or whatever. And it's this, is that the real glow up doesn't need a new look. It starts with a new level of receptivity. Your ability to receive is really where your glow up is going to occur. And I'm also going to share this to my channel as well. Make sure those who are in my channel are listening live now. Okay, brilliant. And I want you to understand this, is that glow up is not necessarily about a new look. There are so many ways that we can glow up, but it also is about having a new level of receptivity. That's right. Like learning how to receive, whether it's love, attention, compliments, pleasure, help. Because oftentimes as ladies, especially for those of us who grew up in the church, is that we've been taught how to receive, and we've been taught how to give, how to sacrifice, how to fast, how to wait in God. But no one actually really taught us how to receive from God, how to receive the love of a man, and also learn how to really receive divine provision. And there is a blessing in being pursued, covered, and taken care of. And oftentimes we haven't always been taught that. And so today I'm going to talk about that for a few moments. And while you're listening, if you're listening and you're saying, okay, Rachel, I love what you're saying, I want to learn more, at any moment in time during this live, you can join. I've got a 4-day masterclass that's coming up called Soft, Seen, Sacred and Secured, and it's a 4-day masterclass. So if you want to join that, say me, and I will send you the link afterwards. So let me just actually write that as a comment as well, and then we're going to be able to do that. Type me, and then when the live is over, I will send the links out. All right, or you can send me a DM. You can still send me messages when I'm live, and let me know that you would like to join the masterclass, or you'd like more information. Let me see. Type soft. If you type the word soft, then I will send you the message. So let me just make sure I've written that down. All right, so as I was saying, we are really talking about this idea of what it looks like to learn to receive. And learning to receive is an art. There's an art to it. There's an art to learning how to receive. And I'm going to talk to you about what happens when a woman learns to receive again, because that's where your true glow up really happens. So let me just make sure I'm writing this right. Type soft for more info. Let me go ahead and pin that. Pin. I'm going to comment here as well. Okay. And I'm also going to comment here on, let me see, YouTube and let me go. Type soft. Okay, great. I'm going to send you the information after we are done. Okay, there we go. Everywhere you can see the name soft. So I'm going to make sure that those of you who have said that you'd like to get the information, I'm going to send that to you after we are done. And so, yeah, so basically we're talking about this idea of learning to receive, right? And oftentimes the glow up is, some people haven't really been telling us the truth about this, because I've realized in my own life that the more I'm available to receive is the more that comes to me. Even when you think about this biblically, you see this often in the Bible where God is like, remember who I am, remember that I am the God who provides, right? And so the more that we remember this is the more we start to see that happen in our own life. Because you can look expensive and still feel overlooked. You can build the business, you can wear the lashes, post the photos, and still cry yourself to sleep and wondering, why am I single? Why is this happening to me? Why is this going the way that it's going? And I came to tell you that it's not just because you're beautiful, it's also because our energy isn't open. When you are closed off and you're not able to receive, then you're not going to see the elements that you need in your own life. And sometimes we're still activating survival mode. We're still leading when we should be leaning back, and we're still doing when we should be receiving. And in the Bible, in Songs of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 10, it says, I belong to my beloved, and his desire is for me. So not his pressure, not his performance, but his desire. That is what we were created for, to be desired and not just tolerated, right? And those are things that we don't often hear being spoken about in many different circles. We don't hear that conversation, that it's not just about being tolerated, and it's not about being tolerated. It's about being desired and to be pursued, not just a placeholder, to be received and not just reach for when it's convenient. That is the glow up that I've not heard many people talk about. And so I want to go deeper onto this. And so many times we learn to receive, right? We learn how to survive. We learn how to build, how to be the strong one because nobody's been there for us, how to be the helper, the one who holds it down. But when a man comes to help you, sometimes we get a bit awkward. If you know and you felt that before, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. If you've ever felt like it's been awkward and you didn't want to say yes to him because you didn't want to act like you needed him, then drop a 1 in the chat if that's ever been you. Yep. I'm seeing your ones in different on the different platforms. Exactly. And I think that one of the things that we realize is that it can feel awkward when we're not used to people doing nice things for us, people being good to us. And when he compliments us, for example, when a man compliments you, do you brush it off? I've seen that happen many times, like you brush it off, or when he tries to lead you, you second guess his leadership skills, or when he tries to touch you, you freeze. That is not confidence. That is a wound. That means that we're operating in a wound that stops us from being adored. And when you are operating that way, listen to this. Isaiah 60 verse 5 says, then you will look and be radiant, and your heart will be filled with joy, and the wealth will be brought to you. So do you see that? There is in a biblical precedence for radiance, joy, and for wealth flowing towards you. That is godly femininity. That is receptive power. And that's what happens when a woman stops striving and starts sitting in her softness. Not laziness, but alignment. Oftentimes we see this on social media, this idea of soft life, receiving, luxury, all these kind of things. But actually, what it really is about is you learning how to receive. Learning how to receive doesn't make you lazy. It means that you are aligned. And I've also noticed is that people will treat you based on how you treat yourself. So I used to be that type of woman where I would always offer to help or jump in or move chairs and do all these things because I want to be seen as the helpmeet. I want to be seen as the girl who can help. However, all that meant is that I attracted situations, circumstances, relationships towards me where I was seen as the help and not as a helpmeet, but as the help. There's a difference. And women who are pursued, women who are adored, and women who are secured without begging for it, you don't have to be louder. You don't have to be more successful. No one is better than you, but it's about mastering sacred receptivity. And these are things that I'm sharing with you today that we're going to go deeper inside of our 4-day masterclass, Soft, Seen, Secured, and Sacred. And if you want to join us, just type soft, and I will make sure that you get the information after we are done. And what I've realized is that when your presence says that you expect to be covered, that you expect to be pursued, and you expect to be loved well, a man will rise to meet those standards. And the men who have a problem with that, they often aren't aligned with you. But here's the key that I found in my own life is that a woman can pray all the time for like all these opportunities, for things to be magnetized to you. You can believe God for the desires of your heart, and you can pray for a godly husband and all these great things that we want in our lives. But if you're operating in control, hyper independence, and fear, you will begin to block what God is trying to send you. And I had to realize that. I had a really rude awakening. And it took me going through some really painful experiences and bad situations to realize that I had to change how I saw things. And it's not just about being married, because, being married isn't like the prize. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not about just being married because I've been married. Like, that's not what it's about. It's actually about being in a marriage that is aligned with who you are and who you're becoming. And the key to entering that type of relationship, the key to being in a type of marriage, is not always about something magical or ethereal, but you will block what God is trying to send you when you feel like you have to perform for love, when you feel like you have to do things for attention, when you feel like you have to do things in order for people to love you. Then you will receive relationships and marriages and situations where that is what happens. You will receive situations where that happens. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yes, so good to see you all here. You will receive those type of relationships. And I have received those type of relationships in the past where I was in what on paper looks like a great relationship, a great marriage. But on the inside, it wasn't what was aligned because of who I was showing up to be. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of times we want to put the responsibility on who we're with, who we have children with, the man. But what about your self-accountability of knowing that in a relationship and in a marriage, we get to choose each other every single day? And if you're not careful, you will end up being in situations and saying that, oh, this is a lesson from God, when it's what you chose. If we're honest, I'm not here for like fakery and fluff and just like la 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 la, wear a dress, wear makeup, wear heels. whilst those are things that I do, like I don't wear trousers, I don't wear pants, I always have my hair done, I always have my nails done, always wear makeup, I always present myself in a particular way. However, those are not what makes a woman receptive. Those are not what makes a woman magnetic. All right. And so if you're in control, you're always controlling. If you are in hyper independence and fear. So sometimes we'll get into a relationship, and honestly, I'm sharing all my business here. I don't even know why. I don't normally talk like this on these lives, but here we go. Honestly, when you are controlling and you exercise hyper independence, you will attract, like, honestly, if you're attractive, beautiful woman, which everyone that watches me, you all are like amazingly stunning women, you will attract people, right? Like it's not a problem. You can go to the gas station, you can go down to the supermarket, and it will happen. But sometimes it's how we choose to respond. So one of my clients was saying to me that when she goes out and stuff, she noticed that when she's wearing like her like crappy clothes or whatever, she will attract more men and things like that. And I was like, why are you surprised? You're stunning no matter what you wear. Of course you're going to attract when you go out. It doesn't matter. But don't use that as a marker for quality. It's about who you choose to respond to. And so let me get back to this. You will block what God is trying to send you when you are operating in control, hyper independence, and fear. And once again, I have a 4-day masterclass coming up soon. And if you want to join me, type the word soft in the comments and I will send you the link after we're done. Alternatively, it's in my bio. You can go ahead and have a look if you want to do that. But here's the thing. When the love that you want doesn't land, and your posture becomes performance, not presence, that is where we mess things up. Because oftentimes people say things like, well, I'm going to be feminine for the right man. That is performative femininity, which I don't believe in. And I honestly do not recommend. I don't recommend you only doing things so that you're going to receive things. What I really believe in is being your authentic self, being the woman of your own dreams, and falling in line with who God has created you to be, learning what you love, learning the things that make you thrive, learning how to step into being who God has created you to be, and then you will start to see better results. So it's not about being performative. I don't believe in performing. I believe in being, stepping back and realizing, taking a deep breath and really kind of realizing that all of my desires want me and that God has made me magnetic to everything that I'm meant to have. And that every breath that I breathe is an opportunity for more blessings and abundance in my life. And honestly, these are the reasons why I go live or write posts or whatever. And I really want more women to understand that when you are soft, seen, sacred, and secured, you do not need to seek validation from anybody. You do not need to seek approval from anyone. And I saw a video from a very popular creator the other day that said that women in their 20s, you should use it to make mistakes and do whatever you want. And I disagree with that. I believe that we should not waste any season of our life. So whether you're single, married, divorced, widowed, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, there is no season of your life that you need to be wasting on making mistakes and learning as you go. The reason why you don't need to do that is because I am someone who has gone through certain experiences, walked certain paths so that you don't have to. The Bible says in the book of Titus that older women should teach the younger women. And yes, it is specifically talking about married women in that passage, but I see as my responsibility to let you know the pitfalls of showing up as being controlling, the pitfalls of always wanting to lead and manage the situation. You will look older. A friend of mine sent me a picture of a picture of me in a marriage, and they were like, Rachel, in this picture, you look so old and you look 1000% better today. How is that possible? How is it possible that I can be in my 20s and be married and be in my 40s now and not be currently married but look better? How is it that I could receive better opportunities, more money, more abundance, more love, more luxury, more everything that I desire now than when I did 20 years ago? And this is the key of what we've been talking about today. It's because I gave up the need to know everything, be everything, and do everything by myself. One of the reasons why you might feel like you're not being seen is because you haven't allowed yourself to relax into your softness. I'm not afraid of asking for help. I will always ask for help. I'm not afraid of being vulnerable about how I'm feeling in the moment. But at the same time, I do not overshare. So being a soft woman and being seen doesn't mean that you have to make a scene to be seen. It means that you show up in your most authentic self. You know how to dress, you know how to wear things that suit you, you know how to wear the styles that make the most sense for your face shape, for your hair texture, and so on and so forth. You know how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. You mind your own business. You don't gossip. You don't tear down other women. And this is the other thing is I wrote a post on Facebook a few years ago where I said that we can normalize this idea of a woman who desires to be in a certain type of lifestyle, who desires to be soft and feminine and magnetic, and we don't have to demonize women that don't want that. So women who love to have a career, who love to be the go-getter, who love to be the breadwinner, who love to go after all those things, if you love that for you, I love it for you. And so we can like what we like without demonizing other women. So you don't get to, and I think judge sometimes can be overused in this situation. Sometimes the reason why we don't like what other women are doing is because we don't believe that we're worthy of it for ourselves. And so a lot of times there are women that will say things online about other women. They will say things like, oh, the only reason why that person got it is because she slept her way to the top, or she's doing this, or she's doing that, instead of turning the mirror on themselves. If you are triggered by things that I say, then it's often a mirror as to how you see yourself. If you are triggered when someone says that you should take care of yourself, that you should try to be the woman of your own dreams, then maybe, just maybe, it might be time to turn the mirror on yourself and really ask God, where is it that I'm showing up as less than who you created me to be? What areas of my life do I need to work on so I'm not judgmental, so I don't gossip, so I'm not negative towards other women? And this is the other thing. As women, we never have to compete for anything in life. You don't compete for the attention of men. You don't compete for authority. You don't compete with your man for control in your household. Because when you learn to know your own lane, when you're clear on your own lane and you're clear on the boundaries that you set for yourself, you will begin to receive so much more into your life. And I'm a living witness of that the moment that I allowed myself to truly be who I was created to be, I was able to receive so much more in my life. It means that the version of me that my husband gets is the very best version of me. Because when you show up for yourself and do the work, everybody in your life benefits. Everybody in your life benefits. You're a better mother, you're a better wife, you're a better sister, a better friend, a better business owner, a better employee, a better everything. Because learning to know that you are soft, you are seen, sacred, and secured is the key to unlocking everything that God has for you. And so if you've been watching this today and you're saying, okay, Rachel, I hear what you're saying, I'm ready to jump into something like that, then you should join me for Soft Seen, Sacred and Secured. It's going to be a 4-day masterclass because your softness is holy. All right. I need you to understand that your softness is a part of your holiness. And your radiance is magnetic. Yes, it is. And your receptivity is the most powerful weapon in this next season. And this 4-day experience that I'm sharing with you today is going to be where we're going to embrace the identity, presence, and posture of a woman who becomes irresistible to love, wealth, favor, and pursuit. And when you're able to do that, it's not because you're trying harder, but it's because you're finally receiving what is already yours. And here's the thing, I don't try harder in my life now. In actual fact, I want to arguably say that I don't try at all. Like, I don't try to do something. I either do it or I don't. But most of the time, the key that I found that works the best is when I just be. I asked someone, a gentleman that I love very, very much. I asked him recently, the other day, I said, what do you do on the days that you don't feel inspired? And he's like a leader, and I asked him, like, what do you do when you don't feel inspired? He says, on those days, I just listen for inspiration. And this is a man who's very busy, who's very driven, who gets everything that he desires, and he's very clear on his path. And he said to me, Rachel, inspiration is everywhere. This conversation is inspiring. And it made me realize that when you slow down and you notice that inspiration can be found everywhere, you will begin to see massive movement in your life. And so it's not about trying harder, but it's actually finally receiving what's already yours. And so we're going to start on the 29th of April. And we are going to have something amazing for you. So if your spirit is saying, I'm ready to be adored, then type the word soft and I'm going to send you the information. And you can DM me as well if you'd like to join us, because I need you to understand that your glow up, it's internal and it is holy. You know what the word holy actually means? It means to be set apart and sacred. So the word sacred is sacred, that I use a lot, right? I use the word sacred a lot. Sacred and holy, it has a similar meaning, which means that you're set apart for divine use only. That means that we don't just put ourselves in places where we are not adored, where we're not seen, where we're not recognized, where we are not cherished. That means that we move ourselves from relationships, spaces, situations, and any circumstance where we are not revered as who we need to be. And so I need, let me just make sure I write down everybody's name. Okay. Let me just take a moment to make sure I've got everybody that has written a comment, and then I will definitely send you a message after we're done, because my DMs are open. But if you want to, for those who are here, you can DM me. My DMs are open on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So send me a message, and that will also speed up the process, and I will send you the information as well. So I'm going to make sure I've got everybody's name here. Okay, good stuff. And good. I've written down all the names that I've seen so far on all the platforms. But if you'd like to send me a message, you can also send me a message and let me know that you'd like more information as well. And I'm going to close out with a prayer because I really believe that when God sets us up, like, some things are a divine setup. God sets us up so that we would always have good success. And one of the main themes of my life has been that God is Jehovah Elroy, the God who sees. God is the kind of God who sees you. He sees you in every situation that you are in. He sees you in every circumstance. And Hagar was a woman who didn't feel like she deserved to be seen. But yet, in the situation that she was in, God saw her. In the book of Genesis, we meet this woman called Hagar. And she's in this situation that she didn't really put herself in. Historians say that she may have been an Egyptian princess, and that when Abraham and Sarah went to Egypt, that she may have been a gift from the Egyptian pharaoh to Abraham, and that's how they got connected. But nevertheless, she's a woman who's been displaced. She's in a different scenario, and Hagar is basically asked, but not really asked, to be a surrogate mother for Abraham and Sarah. And the Bible says that God promises Abraham a son. And because Sarah is old, she's old in age, she's up in age, the Bible puts her around, over 90 years old. And because she is in that age group, she doesn't believe that she can have children. And so what happens is, while she is there, she ends up getting pregnant for Abraham and Sarah as like a surrogate mother. And as she does that, what happens is that there becomes this rift in the household. There becomes this rift in the household. And I'm going to close with this story because I feel like it's really important for us to learn this before I wrap up today. Hagar and Sarah, they end up having this like power struggle because Sarah's the wife, but Hagar's the surrogate mother. And then the Bible says that Hagar says that she can't bear it anymore. So she leaves and runs away into the desert. And while she's there, ooh, some of you, you're running away from destiny. You're running away from your promise because it feels hard. It feels like I didn't choose this and it chose me. And while you're running away, I want you to know that God sees you. So she's in the desert. She's run away. She runs away like once, twice. She runs away. If you want to read the story, go ahead and look in Genesis and you'll be able to see it. And she runs away. And while she's there, an angel says to her, hey, what are you doing out here? And she's like, I have to go. And then I have to go. And then God says to her, don't worry, I've got you. Go back and I've got you. And Hagar says something that's really important. She says, God of gods, you are the God who sees me. And from that moment onwards, we see his name being known as Jehovah El Roi, the God who sees. And I want you to know today that God is a God who sees you. Every single person who's watching these lives today, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the replay, God is a God who sees you. No matter how it feels right now, God sees you. And you have been seen. You have been called to be soft. You have been called to be sacred and secured. And I believe that this is a Kairos moment. This is a divine moment that God has orchestrated for you to see this video at this specific time. And that being said, I want to just declare over every single woman here today that you will know that God is a God who sees you, that you have been seen by God, and you will be found, and you will be seen by opportunities, the man who feels like you're the woman of his own dreams, and you'll be seen by whatever it is that you want to see in your life. And if you'd like more information about my 4-day masterclass, which is called Soft, Seen, Sacred, and Secured, then type the word soft, or you can DM me today and I will send you the link to join us. All right. I love you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are about to end this live. I'm going to say bye to TikTok. Bye-bye. And bye to Instagram. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And we are going to say bye here on YouTube and Facebook. Just send me a message or write a comment and I will make sure you get sent out the link. God bless everyone.